Escalation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. Regional tensions rise over M23 rebel attacks. The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, continues to be engulfed in one of the most prolonged conflicts in Africa, with the M23 rebel group's recent actions escalating tensions in the region. After 13 South African peacekeepers were killed in a fierce attack on the city of Goma, the international community is bracing for the fallout, with neighboring countries like Rwanda and Uganda increasingly drawn into the crisis. The South African government has issued a direct warning to Rwanda, stating that any further attacks on its peacekeeping forces would be considered a declaration of war. This latest escalation raises critical questions. Who are the M23 rebels? What role is Rwanda playing? And what are the wider implications for stability in Central Africa? The international community must respond to both the immediate violence and the long-standing instability that has plagued the region for decades. The M23 rebels, a history of violence and resurgence. The M23 movement, initially formed in 2012, is a rebel militia composed mainly of ethnic Tutsis who were once part of the DRC's army but defected following accusations of marginalization. Initially, M23 claimed to fight for the rights of the Tutsi community and to oppose corruption within the DRC government. However, over time, the group's activities shifted towards seizing territory and controlling valuable resources, including mineral-rich regions in eastern Congo. In 2013, after a significant military offensive by the DRC, M23 was driven out of its strongholds and its forces were scattered. However, in 2021, the group resurfaced, launching new attacks in the North Kivu province, where the city of Goma, a key economic hub, lies. The group's resurgence has been marked by heavy casualties among civilians and military personnel alike, drawing in foreign military support for the DRC government. The recent attack on South African peacekeepers was part of a broader offensive by the M23 rebels to seize key strategic areas near Goma. The peacekeepers, part of a multinational force deployed under the United Nations and African Union efforts, were stationed in the region to maintain order and stability. The assault, which resulted in the death of 13 soldiers, is seen as an escalation of the conflict, with the M23 hoping to push further into Congolese territory. Rwanda's alleged role in the crisis. The geopolitical tensions. While Rwanda has denied supporting M23, multiple sources, including UN investigations and intelligence reports, suggest that Rwanda has provided significant military, financial, and logistical support to the rebel group. The involvement of Rwanda in the DRC's internal conflicts is not new. Rwanda has a long history of being involved in eastern Congo, dating back to the Rwandan genocide of 1994, when millions of refugees, including perpetrators of the genocide, fled to the DRC. Many analysts believe that Rwanda's support for M23 is driven by both security concerns and economic interests. First, Rwanda fears spillover effects from DRC's internal instability, with Hutu militants operating in eastern Congo that pose a security threat to Rwanda. Second, the DRC's natural resources, such as gold, cobalt, and coltan, are immensely valuable, and controlling the supply chain has become a key strategy for neighboring countries like Rwanda. The South African government's warning to Rwanda about further attacks on its peacekeeping forces adds another layer of tension in Central Africa. Should Rwanda be implicated further in fueling the M23's military campaigns, it risks not only deteriorating diplomatic ties with South Africa, but also a broader conflict involving regional powers like Uganda and Tanzania, which have stakes in both security and economic affairs in the region. The humanitarian impact. Millions displaced, lives at risk. While the political and military dimensions of the conflict are crucial, the humanitarian toll is devastating. According to UNHCR, more than 5.5 million people have been displaced in the DRC, making it one of the world's largest displacement crises. The fighting between M23 and the Congolese military, along with the collateral damage of foreign military involvement, has left civilians in dire conditions. The city of Goma, once a bustling economic center, has become a refugee hub, with people fleeing from surrounding villages that have been devastated by fighting. These civilians, many of whom are women and children, face not only physical dangers from bombings and gunfire, but also severe shortages of food, clean water, and medical care. Diseases such as cholera and malaria are rampant in refugee camps, while many hospitals are unable to treat the wounded and sick due to lack of supplies and facilities. One refugee, Jean-Baptiste Nyonkuru, whose family fled to Goma after M23 seized his village, described the ongoing struggles. "We've lost everything. My family had to leave in the middle of the night, walking for days without food. Many of us are sick and we have nowhere to go." What are the solutions? Can the conflict be stopped? The situation in the DRC is deeply complex, and finding a solution will require cooperation among local, regional, and international stakeholders. The following measures are crucial for achieving a lasting peace. 1. Regional cooperation. The African Union, AU, and neighboring countries such as Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania must play a more active role in mediating the conflict and ensuring that M23 and other armed groups are disarmed. A coordinated regional security effort would be the most effective means of addressing both the military threat and the refugee crisis. 2. International pressure on Rwanda. The United Nations and international allies must apply diplomatic pressure on Rwanda to cease any involvement with M23. Sanctions or economic incentives could push Rwanda toward a more constructive role in the peace process. 3. Humanitarian aid. The United Nations and NGOs must increase humanitarian aid to civilians affected by the fighting. This includes food aid, medical assistance, and rebuilding efforts to help displaced people return to their homes when it is safe. 4. Inclusive governance. The Congolese government must work towards an inclusive political process that brings all communities into the fold, including those historically marginalized, to reduce grievances and prevent future insurgencies. If these solutions are not pursued, the DRC risks slipping deeper into endemic violence, poverty, and political instability, further hindering development and peace on the continent. A crossroads for Central Africa. The escalation in the DRC represents a critical crossroads for both the country and the region. While military interventions, such as the U.S. airstrikes on terrorist groups, may offer temporary relief, the true path to stability lies in diplomacy, cooperation, and sustainable development. South Africa's warning to Rwanda is only one aspect of a broader, complex struggle for peace, resources, and justice in Central Africa. Will regional powers step up to mediate peace, or will Africa remain mired in endless conflict? What steps do you think can be taken to bring peace to the DRC? Let's discuss in the comments below. Stay informed on Africa's conflicts by subscribing to my YouTube channel for expert analysis and following me on TikTok for quick updates.